So what is an investment policy statement? An investment policy statement, which we also call an IPS, is your map for investing. It reminds you of what your investment goals are for that particular portfolio. Every portfolio should have an IPS. And the IPS that you create for your retirement plan, for example, might be very different than the IPS you create for a portfolio that you're using to save for buying a house. Let's take a look at an actual investment policy statement for a young woman named Jane. Jane is 25 years old and she's decided to set aside some of her money in a portfolio for her retirement in the future. And she's decided to write an investment policy statement for her financial advisor. So in her investment policy statement, she starts by telling the advisor her age. Why is this important? Because when you're younger, you have typically a longer time horizon for your investments, particularly for your retirement investments. Second, she tells them that this indeed is a portfolio for retirement. And then how much of her total liquid assets is this portfolio? It's only 10%. He or she knows it's not all of her money. And if she passes away, Jane plans to pass this money on to her sister. Time horizon. Jane tells the advisor, I expect to invest this portfolio for the next 40 years or until I retire. Liquidity requirements. I do not require any current income from this portfolio. I will use this money in retirement. What does that tell the advisor? Jane does not need a lot of fixed income right now because she doesn't need income to live on from this portfolio. Risk tolerance. She is a high-risk investor. She wants equity so the portfolio will grow for the future. This makes sense because this is a retirement portfolio and she has a 40-year time horizon. Style preference. Although she understands she should have a variety of styles, she is naturally a growth investor, and so she prefers mostly growing companies. Values are important to Jane, so she tells the advisor, I do not want this portfolio invested in sin stocks. I don't want alcohol, tobacco, gaming, or military contractors. She's a social impact investor. Interest. She likes socially responsible investments, international companies, Asian equities, and clean technology. She's given the advisor some great ideas about what would really make her excited about her portfolio. And then what should the advisor avoid? She doesn't need any real estate because her parents already own 2 buildings and she'll probably inherit those buildings when her parents pass away. And she doesn't like hedge funds. Liquidation of investments. She only wants very liquid investments that could be sold every day. She doesn't want to have illiquid investments in this portfolio. Here's an example of the asset allocation that Jane would have. As you can see by looking at it, it's mostly equities. Large cap equities, a small amount of value, mostly growth, a few small cap stocks, some international, and some socially responsible investments. She tells the investment advisor that she would like to rebalance to her asset allocation at least once a year. So for example, if her growth stocks have gone up in value so that they are more than 40% of the portfolio, the investment advisor would sell some of those and invest in the other sectors until they all came back into these percentages. Vehicles. She tells the investment advisor that she likes mutual funds and ETFs. She wants high quality funds with 3 stars or more from Morningstar. She doesn't want to have small funds. They all have to have over 500 million in assets. And no one fund should be more than 5% of her portfolio, which means she wants a lot of diversification. She doesn't want all her eggs in one basket. She also wants to make sure that the funds that she's investing in are not all doing the same thing. So she's asking her investment advisor to do an analysis of what's inside each fund and make sure there are not too many duplications. Performance reporting. She wants to see each fund or ETF compared to the appropriate benchmark. She wants to see a blended benchmark that she can use to monitor the results of the total portfolio. She wants to see all her information online and on the phone, and she wants to be able to speak to her advisor at least once a month and maybe more during a market crisis period. And she's written down that she would like to keep these instructions in effect until she says otherwise. So by giving this investment policy statement to her financial advisor, she's given this person a very clear roadmap of what she expects. There's no way that there can be any misunderstandings. It also helps her if the advisor does not do what she says. The advisor cannot deny that he or she knows exactly what they were supposed to do because it's all written down in the IPS. Now, what if something changes in Jane's life? Well, she needs to update. So for example, if she decides to buy a house, and for a while she's going to stop investing in her retirement account and put more money into her house saving account for her down payment, she needs to let the advisor know. And she may want to change the asset allocation as she gets older to something a little bit less risky, but probably not for a long time. So when you work with an advisor, you always want to give your advisor a written investment policy statement. You want to make sure that your advisor is following your instructions, and you want to communicate with your advisor and give them a new IPS if there are changes in your life. And by the way, if the advisor doesn't follow your IPS, and I've seen cases where they just ignore what their clients are asking for, change advisors. There's lots of people out there who would like to help you with your money. So what did we learn in this lesson? We need to use the universal keys for good investing: conviction, understanding, and transparency. We can express our preferences in our portfolio. We need to write a written IPS for our financial advisor. We need to communicate if there are any changes in our lives and update our investment policy statement. We need to make sure the advisor that we work with is following our instructions. And if we're not happy, change advisors. Now, Connor, Zendaya, and Ella, what did you learn during this lesson?
I could express my values in my investments.
My IPS will tell my advisor what to do.
With a good IPS, I'm the master of my investments.